I'm joined by the Talk TV contributor, Paula Roan Adrian, Times radio host Stig Abel makes his debut on Piers Morgan Uncensored. Great to see you. I got a new book out, Death Under a Little Sky, which is described probably by you as gloriously atmospheric.
No, by...
A truly excellent debut and other wonderful tributes. It's I'm told, a great book. I haven't read it yet.
Well, that's a birthday
I'm on holiday today and I will go and read it.
That's a birthday present for you. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
68 today, isn't it? That's what I heard. Did I read that wrong?
Good to see you. Let's talk about this gender in schools business, right? We talk a lot about gender-related things, and some people get bored with it, but there are really important principles at stake here. What did you feel, Steve? You're a parent. The idea that a child could be at school self-identifying with all that goes with that, with the school's full knowledge and kind of cooperation, if you like, and the parents wouldn't know. What do you think of that?
I think, first of all, it's such a difficult area. We talked about a lot on our programme as well today. I feel sorry for teachers, first of all. I don't know how you be a teacher in this situation. You know, you come into school, a kid comes to you and says, I might have been born a girl, but I think I'm a boy. What do? You want to look after them, you don't want them to be bullied.
Well, I don't think you don't tell the parents.
Well, I agree with that. I think in the end, the only way these things get settled is if people talk openly about them. And that means there's three people involved in this. There's the school, the teacher, there's the kid, and there's the parent.
Right.
And why wouldn't you just talk about this stuff? I've got a 14-year-old, and it is very striking to me, this type fluidity, non-binary stuff, it's definitely there. It's there in the school. A couple of kids.
Yeah, but it's also, it seems to me like Paula, it does seem to me like a craze, right? It seems like it's a fad. Like it's the trendy thing now for young people at school to go, I'm non-binary, I'm gender fluid. They're all doing it, right? I mean, there's a school in Brighton, which is the mecca for all these things, where I think like 1 in 10 kids was identifying as non-binary out of 1,000 kids. It was ridiculous. Obviously, they're not all, I suspect, genuinely non-binary. They're just going along with whatever it is. And lost in the wash will be the ones who've really got gender dysphoria, right? So I have a problem with this. As a parent of 4 kids, if I found out that a school and teachers were deliberately hiding information like the gender identities, supposedly, of my kids, I'd be furious.
You'd be furious, and you'd have a right to be furious, wouldn't you, Piers?
Do you think so?
Because absolutely. We have to understand and remember what it is a school is supposed to do. A school is supposed to be there to look after our child and care our child. It's essentially acting as a parent when we're not. And it's supposed to be there to not only help our child, but to educate our child. Now, I do wonder what the message is that we would be giving to a child if a child came to you and said, keep this a secret, don't tell my mum, don't tell my dad. And as an adult, you said, OK, I won't. That's not helpful either.
I agree with that, but why does the parent... I mean, you're a parent, we're all parents. It's the parents' job to know as well. Because
but Stig, come on. You know, as much as I'd love to think I'm the best parent in the whole wide world, there are going to be things about my child I don't know.
Yeah, but it's not actually that. I was struck by the numbers of schools where this was going on. Yeah. I was absolutely shocked when I read that report this morning.
Well, it's 7 out of 10. It's
right,
7 out of 10.
Unbelievable.
I mean, they only asked 150 schools, so you can judge that however you like. But it's quite a big thing as a parent. I mean, I'm not very... we all can realise our flaws as parenting. You know, 14-year-olds...
How many times did you not tell your parents things about you when you were growing up? Come on.
Plenty of things. Yeah, there's plenty.
Exactly. That's the point.
But
so the point is, if kids feel like they've got a foil,
yeah,
they've got someone who's in on their thing, right?
But this is
then
about their
a lot of them
identity.
won't tell their parents.
But this is about their identity. This is not like they might be sneaking a cigarette.
But do you really believe, Steve, this is about their identity, or is it just about joining the club?
I think it's about both of you. Kids, in my experience, they experiment, they're all over the place, particularly teenagers.
Yes.
And I think, to a certain extent, we've got to allow them to express themselves, you've got to allow them to see where they are in the world. And we've all done it. Now I think there is a herd mentality in this area, but we've all experimented at various times in our lives, particularly when we're young. And you've got to give them a certain amount of space to do that.
What do you think about self-identity, which is now this massive crisis, really, where Nicola Sturgeon has to basically lose her job as First Minister because she just couldn't say what a woman is and couldn't understand why people were angry that a male rapist went to a women's prison. What do you feel about the concept of limitless self-identity?
I think you can't change biology. I think it's really easy for me as a man I think people can do what they want with their lives, but it's never going to really harm my rights. So the conflict of rights, you have to do this all the time in law. There's the rights of women, there's the rights of people who want to identify in a certain way. It never clashes with my rights, because I'm a bloke. People can say whatever they like. I don't need a safe space. I've not got any safe spaces. That, to me, is
No, it's all, in this case, it's all about the infringement of women's rights.
Exactly
now,
right.
Paul, I want to show you a video clip.
Yes.
This is of a coach, a weightlifting coach, male, called Avi Silverberg, who decided that he would exploit, this was in Canada, where the rules say that anyone who self-identifies as a woman could compete in the female category. So he was a male powerlifting coach who then self-identified as a woman, entered the women's powerlifting competition, smashed the record, obviously, the all-time record of 84 kgs or something, set by Anne Andres, who was also transgender, a man who male who identifies and competes as a woman. And he did it to prove a point about the absurdity. In sport, especially. The absurdity of where limitless self-identity takes you. It's absurd.
And of course, when you look at that extreme, you are going to get the absurd. Of course you are. And that, when we are at the end of the absurd, we're also not helping the people who actually do want to identify. That doesn't help them either. And so he was right, actually, I think. I do support him for doing that, because clearly we do need to work at this. We do need to understand what's going on. But shutting people out, shutting a parent out, is not the answer.
There's not a human right to compete in sport. And I just think ultimately, male biology, particularly through puberty, means you have a difference, you have an advantage.
You just have an automatic advantage.
And you can respect trans people and their right to live a life, but they don't have a human right to compete in female sport. And I think what we're seeing now, actually, is a hardening. You know, a lot of sporting bodies have just recognised that. That's a relatively straightforward.
Well, let me ask you guys two completely different questions, right? But I want straight answers, simple answers. 10 years' time, if he's still alive, will King Charles still be King Charles? In other words, will there still be a monarchy?
That's the easy answer. Yes.
Yeah, I agree, yes.
Easy answer.
And in 2.5 years' time, will Rishi Sunak still be Prime Minister?
No.
No.
Really?
I think you can just...
I'm not so sure.
I think you can mount a case just about that maybe the momentum is faintly swinging back. But even if he was brilliant... And even if he had...
at this stage in 1992, at this stage, Neil Kinnock was further ahead, had been ahead in the polls longer than Keir Starmer. He was further ahead in the polls over the Tories. And the Tories eventually brought in safe old John Major. And Neil Kinnock got a little bit cocky, and safe old John Major nicked it.
You've got Conservative MPs now launching legal action against their Prime Minister.
Wait a minute. What the hell's happening? It's my birthday! Rosanna Lockwood has joined me. Thank you, Rosanna.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
How lovely. Like, come and sit down, because
Thank you.
I'm actually taking I'm sure you'll all agree, 2 extremely well-deserved weeks off. I'm going to go to Hollywood and lie under palm trees. And I've made the potentially career-ending decision for one of us to allow Rosanna to come and sit in my chair and host Piers Morgan Uncensored. So it shall be Rosanna Lockwood Uncensored, which I don't even know what that is like, but we're going to find out for the next 2 weeks.
Well, for starters, I identify as a woman.
Yes!
So we have got that. I can promise you Rosanna Lockwood Unfiltered. I'm not Piers Morgan, let's be honest about it, but I will bring my own particular brand to the show. We'll have some good interviews, some nice conversations, hopefully a good show for you all. Look forward to seeing you then.
I mean, are you opinionated? I know you're a very good business journalist, but have you got... I watched your Twitter feed. You're quite gobby on there.
I'm fairly gobby. But, you know, that's just me being a classic introvert. It's easier to be gobby online, isn't it, than it is person to person. But in a TV studio, come on, why not? What an opportunity. Let's go for it. I will be sharing my opinions. Some of them are different to Piers's. You know, I hope you don't mind me saying that, but I'm a few decades younger than you.
I mean, look, it's the normal rules. If you do really well, great. If you do too well, not so good. And if you do terribly, I've never heard of you. Well, I'm 58 today. I know what you're all thinking. No, really? You look about 40. But because I'm treating my body like a temple at the moment, there'll be none of this cake for me. But still, given you've made your debut here today, you can have a slice.
Oh, bless your heart.
Paula, you can have a slice. And Rosanna, you can have a slice. Because I'm that kind of guy. I'm all about the giving.
We volunteered to come out of a cake for you, but no one was interested at all, were they?
Stig, great to see you. The book is Death Under a Little Sky by Stig Abel. I'm told by those who've read it, it's terrific, so thank you very much indeed.
Pleasure.
I will read it under a palm tree next week.